guys, welcome to Bones Collector, where today I'm going to continue to count down my ultimate top 100 board games. I can't wait to show these games to you today because they're just absolutely magnificent. As I was going through making out the details for each game, I was just thinking how wonderful these games are. So I want to talk to you first of all about a game that I received in the mail recently, and it was a game in my countdown that I did not have in my library, and that was Raja of the Ganges. I think the countdown was 70 to 61 maybe, that video. I think game number 70 was Raja of the Ganges. I played this game at Dice Tower Con back in 2018 maybe, 2018, 2019 with Alan Michelle and a couple of people that I met at the convention. We had a good time playing this game, and they were smarter than me. They bought a copy there at the convention, but I didn't, and then it took me forever to find where I could get one, and I got one last week from Card House, and yeah, I can't wait to play it. It's a wonderful game that I'm in love with, probably more than you, huh, Lori? I
like it a lot. Yeah. You like it more than me.
This is an incredible game. It's a dice. Watch my video. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Here, let me take that. Okay. First of all, what else I want to say about some of these games? The earlier part of the Ultimate Top 100 were more complex games, take a little more time to play. Now I'm getting into games that Lori and I can sit down and play in 30 to 45 minutes generally. I'll tell you that when I talk about each game. These are the types of games that we really are in love with. Those crunchy games that give you a workout intellectually, but only keep you at the table maybe 30, 45 minutes. I really love those types of games. So here's 10 of them coming at you right now. I hope you get a chance to play some of these games because they're terrific. Okay, number 30 came out in 2019. It's called Nova Luna and is by Uwe Rosenberg and Corne van Moorsel. Now, Corne van Moorsel made a game that used to be in my library called Habitats. We loved Habitats, didn't we? We really liked Habitats, but ultimately we chose other tile laying games to remain in the library. Now, he teamed up with Uwe Rosenberg and made this game in 2019. It's for 1 to 4 players. It's a puzzle race game, and it uses a time mechanism, which is really interesting in it because it makes choosing a tile more difficult because each tile has a time amount on it that you're going to have to pay in order to take that tile. And this is, I said this is a race game. You'll have 20 round discs, and as soon as you've placed all those round discs on tiles that you've completed, the game is over. You've won. When you play 20, boom, there's no bonus points, there's nothing else going on. First person to place that 20th disc wins the game. I love it. Every time we play it, we just can't stop. And I think that's what makes a lovely board game. Again, this came out in 2019. It is not my favorite game by Uwe Rosenberg, but it is the next to the favorite. And I've already talked to you about some of his games that I really enjoy, and they're not the usual ones you see in board game reviewers' lists. It's not Feast for Odin, it's not Le Havre, it's not Agricola. It's games like this, Uwe. This is what we want to play, and we really enjoy this game. I love it so much. That's Nova Luna. Oh, I did want to mention, I think right now it's very difficult to find this game. I'm sorry about that. I hate that. But I think it will be reprinted, hopefully, and that you can get this for a reasonable price. Don't pay anything incredible to get this game. That's not worth that. I mean, the retail of this game was probably 30, 35 bucks, but it's a beautiful game. The amount of money you pay for a board game has nothing to do with the game design. The game design in here is fantastic. It's an inexpensive game. I love it. Nova Luna. All right. Number 29. Oh, over here. Number 29 is Isle of Skye by Andreas Pelikan and Alexander Pfister. It came out in 2015. It's a 2 to 5 player game from Mayfair Games. And yeah, there's the back of it. In Isle of Skye, you are Scottish clans, or it's called From Chieftain to King, but you're different clans. And in this game, you have an auction mechanism, you have tile placement, you have set collection, and the auction mechanism in this game is fantastic. It, again, plays just wonderfully at 2-player. And the auction mechanism is something that's done in secret behind your player screen. You're going to lay coins down that are going to equal the amount that your opponent's going to have to pay to get that tile from you. And you take turns doing that. you will buy a tile, they will buy a tile. And then whichever one they don't buy, the other one goes to you and the money goes to the bank. And one of the tiles behind your player screen, you're going to axe it. You got a hatchet and you're going to cut that tile. So when you're building your area in your tableau, the auction is everything to you, because you have to look and see, first of all, whether you can place that tile. And secondly, can you think you can afford it, because you don't know how much money they put behind their player screen. So you're thinking about that and what are on those tiles that you need. Maybe a farmhouse or a lighthouse or cloches or whatever they're called, but just that set collection thing going on, score points. Scrolls, I think, are part of that have the point values on them. And then I'm going to show you one more thing. I promised I wouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it. One of the other things that makes this game so magnificent is you get a whole bunch of tiles that go on this scoreboard. And there's only going to be 4 of them in every game. And down here is your round marker disc, so that in round 1 you're going to score the A tile. In round 2 you're going to score the B tile. In round 3 you're going to score the A and the C tile, and also these amounts of money here go to the player who's behind in the game. That's pretty cool. That's a cool catch-up mechanism, because you need money in this game, and it can get tight at times. And then, as you can see, it changes which tiles you're going to use as you go through the rounds. So you have to look ahead to those things, and that's one of the things that makes this such a beautiful game, is those gold tiles. And you get a whole bunch of them, so that it changes with every game. That is a beautiful thing. I was glad to be able to tell you about this game. I've played everything from Alexander Pfister, and this is my favorite game from him. And he collaborated with Andreas Pelikan to make a wonderful tile-laying experience. Wonderful auction game. You get this out and play it and you're done in 45 minutes, 2-player, and I just love that about this game. It makes you think hard, and it's a beautiful time, folks. Isle of Skye, from chieftain to king. Yeah. Did I talk about everything in that? Yeah, I did it. Oh, and the art is by Clemens Franz. You know, he of Agricola and all Uwe's games, Uwe Rosenberg's games. He does a fantastic job in board game art. Okay, number 28. Azul Summer Pavilion. Azul Summer Pavilion came out in 2019. It's by my favorite board game designer, Michael Kiesling. He makes games for us that hit us right where we love to play, and we just love him as a board game designer. This game is for 2 to 4 players. It's tile drafting, pattern building. It's an abstract strategy game, first of all, and then tile placement. And there's so much going on in this game that's not going on in Azul. We played Azul when it first came out with some people at a convention, and I wasn't in that game for 10 minutes, and I had cut the guy's throat next to me twice, because it's just a mean game. When we got done playing, I told Lori, this isn't for us. We don't care for those kinds of games, because you have to do that. There's a lot of games where you have to do that. And Azul is one of those. I was surprised it won the Spril de Jaris just because of that. It's got a mean streak in it. And it's removed in this game because when you're drafting those tiles, there's so much going on your player board and on the main board that you don't have time to pay attention to what other people are doing. You really don't. You're so focused. There's so many things to think about. You can surround different icons on your player board to get bonus tiles from the central board. You have to focus on making a whole flower, because you get bonuses for making a whole flower of the flowers that are on your player board. You get bonuses for going in the middle of your player board, and you get bonuses for covering up sets of numbers. So if you cover up all your 1s, you get a certain amount of points. If you cover up all your 2s, if you cover up all your 3s. So you're thinking about those things and trying to look at the tiles that are available to draft and seeing if you can get some of those things done. So there's so much going on, so much happening that you don't have time to worry about what someone else is doing, and that's a beautiful thing. That's what we like to do. And we really love Azul Summer Pavilion by Michael Kiesling. It's the best version that I played so far. There was Azul, there was Azul Frank Sinatra, and there was Azul Summer Pavilion, and there's a new one out right now. I have to admit, I haven't played it. I don't know if it's any good or not, but this is really just a cool game. I'm glad I could tell you about it. It's Michael Kiesling's Summer Pavilion Azul. Yeah, love that game. Okay, number 27. Big box. Number 27 is a little Euro game called Red Cathedral. It came out in 2019. The designers are Isra C. and Shay S. You're building the Red Cathedral in Russia, and it's a 1 to 4 player game. It's dice rolling. area influence, tableau building, and it uses a rondel to get those things done. The art is by Kima Roman and Pedro Soto, and I wanted to mention that because I just love the art on the front of that box, and I love the art on the cards, and I love the art on the board. It's just wonderful. It just takes you there as you try to put together that cathedral. And you have a central board that's the rondel, and you're going to roll 5 dice, place them on the board, and then as part of your action, you're going to choose one of those dice, and whatever value it is, you move that many spaces around the board, and you can mitigate that. That's one of the actions you can take, because you're going to be grabbing resources wherever that dice lands, and it's multiplied by the number of dice that are in that space. And the main board is laid out in quadrants. Each quadrant has a card on it with other actions that you can take, because sometimes you might need stone, which I did. We just played this recently, and I went 4 turns. I said, I need stone! For the love of Mary, I need stone! And to complete one of my cards in the cathedral. You can go to the stone quadrant, but the dice values weren't there for me. So I went to one of the other quadrants where it had a card where you could trade resources and get other resources, and that's the way you can mitigate that bad luck where you can't get what you need. So I really appreciate that from the designers. They really worked themselves silly to make a beautiful game, because there's no part of this game that's fat. It is slick, it is streamlined, it's fun to play, and look at that little box. Oh my gosh. This box is packed, I'm telling you. The production, who is this? DeVere Games. I should have mentioned that. DeVere Games, that's awesome. Look at that. You couldn't get another D6 in there. It's packed full of goodies and goodness and wonderful stuff, beautiful gems, beautiful dice. And what else can I say about this? It feels like you're playing some huge Vita Lacerda game when you play this, but it's small, it's in front of you, you can see everything, and it's just a wonderful experience. We have so much fun when we play Red Cathedral. Yeah, it's a great game, folks. All right, number 26. I told you, Uwe Rosenberg. Patchwork Christmas. Actually, Patchwork came out in 2014. This is a Christmas edition, came out in 2021. 2-player only, tile drafting, tile laying, and grid coverage. If you haven't played Patchwork, this is one of the most popular games out. It has to be. I mean, it's a very, very popular game. We played this when it first came out, and we enjoyed it very much. But the whole quilt thing, I guess, wasn't resonating with me, even though the game was fantastic, and usually that doesn't stop me. I probably would end up buying that game eventually. But when they came out with the Christmas edition, boy, that sold me immediately. And we picked it up, and you have these little tiles that you can land on, the gifts. I guess it gives you, I forget what it gives you, like extra movement?
You could fill in a square with it.
Okay, oh, that's right. You get little gifts, so you can fill in your little single squares. So you're covering up your player board, your grid, with tiles that you're drafting around the board, and you lose points for the number of spaces that you do not cover up, and that can be a real challenge, and it is a real challenge, and it's a lot of fun to do. I love Patchwork, and I always say this every time I talk about this game. I covered up my whole board with 3 spaces, best I've ever done. I really love playing this game. They have a new one out called, I think it's a...
Halloween.
Oh, Halloween, yeah.
And Valentine.
Oh, really? Patchwork Halloween? Patchwork, Lori's on top of this stuff. Patchwork Halloween and Patchwork Valentine's Day. We opted for the Christmas edition. We love the holidays, love Christmas, and you also get a cookie cutter inside. Hey, who can beat that? So yeah, that is Patchwork Christmas by Uwe Rosenberg. To me, his best game he's ever done. And I've played all his games. I've played all the big monster boxes, Feast for Odin, and you know what? I would rather do this any day of the week, because we can play it 2 or 3 times in about 45, 50 minutes and just have a great time doing it. Yeah, it's Patchwork Christmas. I love that game. Okay, number 25. A game called Sagrada from 2017 by Adrian Adamescu and Daryl Andrews. It is 1 to 4 players, so it has a solo variant, and I like when that can happen, because there's a lot of people that aren't as fortunate as I am to have a spouse that loves to play board games. I mean, Lori, my wife, loves to play board games probably more than I do. So it's fortunate to have her to do that, and we spend a lot of time enjoying board gaming together. It's such a social, such a loving way to spend your time. So yeah, I love it when board game designers put in a solo variant. This is dice rolling and dice drafting, pattern building. Of course, the theme is the Sagrada in Spain, I believe, the beautiful windows there, and that's what you're doing in this game. You're drafting dice to put in that window, build your window on your player board, and there's specific ways you have to do it. You can't put colors next to each other, like colors. You can't put like numbers next to each other. And not to mention they have these, I hope a lot of you have played this game, but if you haven't, I'm going to show you this, just this one little thing, real quick. Yeah. Yeah, your board here, this is what your player board looks like, and then you have a whole stack of these cards, and depending on how hard you want the game to be, and you just take these like such and slide them in there, and you can see how it changes the grid, and that's really, really cool. It comes with different difficulty levels. This is a 5, so that's hard, I believe. Yeah, there's a 3 on that side. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I want to tell you also, there's a game kind of like this called Role Player, and we had Role Player for a while. We had both of them, and we played them back and forth, and after we played them enough, we looked at each other and said, you know what, we like Sagrada better. It's faster, same kind of puzzle, and we love these puzzle games that make you think hard in a short period of time, and Sagrada fits that bill. Role Player just a little bit long for us, and it had that fantasy theme, which for me is something that, yeah, I don't really care for that. So we got rid of that and kept Sagrada, and that's Sagrada. 1 to 4 players, 2017, beautiful dice game. All right, let's turn the page on this. I hope you guys are having as much fun as I am. Number 24 is a game that came out 2018. It's called Reef, and it's by Emerson Matsuuchi. 2 to 4 players. This is another abstract strategy game of hand management and pattern building. I love this game tremendously, and I'm always beating the drum for this game. It came out in 2018, the same year as Azul, and when I played this, I thought, oh my gosh, this should have won the Spiel des Jahres, not Azul. Even though Michael Kiesling, who designed Azul, he is my favorite board game designer ever, and Reef was a better game than Azul. So I thought this guy deserved it. But in Reef, what makes it different than Azul is you have some hidden information. And I like that in this game because you have a hand of cards and nobody knows what's in your hand. They don't know your goals. So your hand of cards, you can play them and complete a pattern and score those points. You can play that card and get some of the coral reef that you need to complete a pattern later. Or you can take a card, one of the 4 cards that are showing, for something in the future. So you're planning constantly in this game, and it just plays fast and beautiful. I love this game. We bought it as soon as it came out. We played it at a convention, and I said, wow, that game is, that's pretty cool. Once you understand what's going on in this game, it's just an amazing game. Reef, I can't say enough about it. Yeah, that's Reef. 2 to 4 players, abstract strategy game, hand management and pattern building. I love this game, and this is from the publisher of Next Move. Yeah. Wow, nice job, Emerson Matsuuchi. I love that game. I'll play it the rest of my life. Okay, number 23, a game called Miyabi. 2019 this game came out, 2 to 4 players. It's another abstract strategy, tile drafting, and pattern building set collection game from Michael Kiesling. And I told you he's my favorite board game designer of all time because of games like Miyabi. I love this game. It is so it's electric when you play it. And it's from Haba Games, which generally makes really super light games. But this game has not only the base game in it, but I think it has 5 or 6 little mini expansions that you can put in the game. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so what you're doing in Miyabi is building a Japanese garden, and at the top of the board you have, I think, 6 lanterns. And whenever you choose to lay a tile on your board in that column, you have to lay down that lantern, and so you can't place another icon in that column during that round, and that's the meat of this game, and it's pretty cool. And again, it has 5 little mini expansions in it that you can use to make the game harder if you wish, but it's a beautiful game. These are the kinds of games that grow the board game industry. This little game is inviting to people who don't play board games every day. You can still pick this game up, take it home, read the rule book, and figure out how to play it. And play it the rest of your life because it's good. It's not a game that you're going to get tired of and stick it on a shelf and never play it again. This game is amazing. So that's Miyabi by Michael Kiesling. Michael, thank you. It's awesome. Alrighty. Number 22 is my 2020 Game of the Year, Calico, by Kevin Russ. It's 1 to 4 players. Tile drafting and pattern building. Again, abstract strategy game, which, again, we love these puzzles. Oh, boy. Guess what? We put the lid on, not right side up. We do that all the time. Like that. No, I might leave the lid off. Isn't that cute though? This game is so gorgeous on the outside and it's gorgeous on the inside. They did a lot of things, a lot of detailed things in this game that make it special. They tell you about all the cats that they use in the game. The real cats, the people that they know, and they write a little story in the rule book, at the end of the rule book about them. That's so lovely. I love that kind of stuff. This is from AEG. Thank you, AEG and Flat Out Games. This is just a wonderful, wonderful game. I'm going to show you one thing. Again, this box is packed full of gamey goodness. No, I'm not going to be able to shove all this back in here. No way. Lori must put this away. She's really good at that. So anyways, yeah, you have a double layer player board, and you're going to have these goal tiles that cover these 3 spaces right here, and that's going to tell you how you're going to be able to score the points that are on that goal tile. And your draft tiles to fit in here, and the shrinking space as you put tiles in there is what creates the tension. I just love that mechanism. It's there in Subdivision. If you've ever played that, that board is so constricting, so restrictive that it just makes tension that's palpable. And I love that in Calico. It's why I like it just a hair better than Cascadia. Even though I love Cascadia, yeah, I love that game, and it's in my top 100. But Calico still, all things considered, again, the tension that happens because of the nature of this board that shrinks. It's like in Star Wars when Luke and Leia and Han, I think, was there somebody else there? I can't remember, but they were on the garbage compactor, and the walls are shrinking, and they are under pressure to try and save their lives. And that's what you feel like when you have a game mechanism like this. It's why I love this so much. But whenever they do this kind of thing, I just really, really appreciate it, and I love that kind of thing. I'm always partial to a game that has absurd tension in it. Yeah, so that's Calico. That has 1 to 4 players. Tile drafting, pattern building by Kevin Rust. Thank you, Kevin Rust, for this game. I love it, and I love you for making it. We play it as often as we possibly can. You never get sick of this game. It is so wonderful, and there's no way I'm getting this lid back on, so this will just have to sit for a second until after the video is over. Yeah, there's a lot in that box, dudes. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, that's Calico number 22. And the last game on the list of the day, you know what? It's Sanssouci from 2013 from Michael Kiesling. So many times when I'm talking about board games, I tell you guys, if you have a game that is really, really good by a certain designer, take a moment to seek out his other games. Just type in on Board Game Geek. You can find their name and click on it, and it'll tell you all the titles that they've done. You can go to YouTube, watch them play, look at the games, see if that might interest you. Most of the time, you'll find a lot of games. Michael Kiesling's games, just I said before, they just hit us where we like to play. You know, 45 minutes to an hour, thinking really hard. Sanssouci is a hand management tile placement game for 2 to 4 players. You have a hand of cards that have colors on them, and you have a market board with colors on the market board and then stacks of tiles, so you draw 2 cards. You can play one of those. You play that color, and you have to take a tile from that row of that color. And in your hand of cards, you also have a wild card where you can use any color, so there's a little bit of mitigation there. But as you select those tiles, you're going to lay them on your player board in such a fashion that you can make a path to the bottom of the board, and that's how you score all the points in this game. First time I played it, I loved it. I mean, I just can't believe that everybody doesn't own Sanssouci. It's an amazing game. Obviously, I think it's one of the best ever. It's number 21 in my ultimate top 100, Michael Kiesling Sanssouci. And there's a reprint coming. I don't think you can get it right now. I don't know if it's readily available. You might find somebody on the Geek Market or something, if you get on Board Game Geek, that's willing to part with something like this at a reasonable cost. Don't go out and pay a bunch of money for something like that. I don't want you to overpay for games. I know that other reviewers may not talk about cost, but I do, because board gaming can get very expensive, and you can sometimes pay more than games are worth if you're not careful. And I would like everybody to enjoy board gaming, and not everybody has an unlimited budget, certainly not me or anybody that I know. So I'm always concerned at how much I'm paying for things, and I wanted to tell you those things because I love all of you. Thank you very much for liking my videos. That helps so much when you take a second to do that. Thank you. I have a new subscriber from India that couldn't wait to see this list of games. And hey, welcome aboard. I was glad to present them to you because they're all wonderful, and I feel good about every one of those games because I feel good about telling you about every one of those games because they're magnificent. So thank you so much for liking. Thank you for subscribing. I'll see you next time on The Bones Collector when we do the next 10. Keep on board gaming. It's the best hobby on the planet. Have a great day and have a better tomorrow. Have a good day after that and just a great life. Bye-bye.